Hello students, this is a class 2, the important ideas of economics, and from this class we will know about the different economic resources of Bangladesh, product, differentiate between freely accessible goods and economic goods, compare permanent and temporary consumable goods, differentiate between intermediate and capital goods, and illustrate the concepts of opportunity cost and choice, and determine the relationship between income, savings and investment. So let's go. So goods. What are goods? Goods can be material and non-material. Goods has to have fulfill human needs, and goods has utility. All the material and non-material things that have the capability to fulfill human needs are goods, and the thing that has utility is goods. So to make a thing as good, or to count a thing as goods in economics, they have to have three conditions. They can be material or non-material. They have to have the capability to fulfill the human needs, and the thing has utility of goods. Here, types of goods. Freely accessible goods are light, wind, river water, etc. They are free, available and unlimited. The goods that can be obtained without money are known as free access goods. Earlier we have learned to become an economic resource, one has to have spent money. But there are free accessible goods which are free and available and unlimited. They are called freely accessible goods in economics. For example, the light, the wind, and the river water. The next kind is economic goods. Here you can see the picture of economic goods. For economic goods, one has to pay and the supply is limited. For economic goods, remember the 2 points. The goods, one has to pay for the goods and the supply is limited. The goods for which people have to pay are known as economic goods, and their supply is limited. For example, foods, clothes, books, pens, chairs, tables, etc. The next type of goods are consumer goods. Consumer goods are the utility of goods which is consumed by consumption or use, that are called consumer goods. For example, cars, clothes, foods, etc. These products are bought for consumption by the average consumer. Consumer goods are bought for consumption only, for use only by the average consumer. So you don't forget the examples: clothes, foods or groceries, and the cars. The next type of goods are permanently consumable goods. Permanently consumable goods. These goods that can be consumed over a long period of time are termed as permanently consumable goods. These are consumed over a long period of time. For example, house, playgrounds, fields, refrigerator, cars, etc. It depends on the time period. The next type is temporarily consumable goods. Consumed within a short period of time and consumed for once only. These type of goods are consumed once or for a short period of time. These are, for example, food, clothes, vegetables. Clothes are like disposable clothes or any kind of general clothes. People can wear for a short period of time or once only, but the foods, vegetables or grains, these are consumed for once only. These are called temporary consumable goods. The next type is intermediate goods. Some produce goods that are not to be used for direct consumption, rather used as a factors of production. Some goods, they are not to be used for direct consumption, rather used as factors of production. For example, baking items. Here you can have vanilla essence or baking powder, baking soda, butter, etc. And these are not direct for direct consumption, rather used as a factor of production of baking. Consumed at a final production. These products are consumed at a final production. When the factors of production are used and a finished product is made, then people consume it. And these are mainly the raw materials. Intermediate goods are mainly raw materials in a word. Suppose wood logs are used for making doors or windows. These plants are used for handmade papers, and people use these papers, doors, and the baked cake or breads, etc. So the intermediate goods are the raw materials of finished product. Now, after intermediate goods, there comes the final goods. The produced goods used for direct consumption after the production. The produced goods are used for direct consumption after their production. For example, apartments, buildings, foods, a chair, or any kind of finished products. These are called final goods. Capital goods. From the picture here, you can see the warehouse, the instruments or tools, the buildings, the transport system. These are called capital goods. Capital goods are used for the production of other goods. Production of other goods used again and again in production. This is not for a short period of time or once. They can be used again and again in production. And capital goods can be used to produce other capital goods. For example, this building can help to produce the tools or materials which can be capital goods of other factories. And capital goods include fixed assets such as buildings, machinery, equipment, vehicles, and tools. Capital goods are also produced for the service sector, including hair clipper used by hair stylist and coffee machines for coffee shop. The goods which are the means of production, which is the main source of production, are called capital goods. Whether it is a hair clip or hair brush for a hairdresser, or it's a coffee machine for a coffee shop owner, or the heavy material production machine for the garments or owner or other industry owner. Okay. The next point comes here is commodity. Commodities are goods and services that are usable and saleable. Usable and saleable. All goods are not commodity, but all economic goods are commodity. It is confusing, isn't it? No, not at all. All goods are not commodity, but all economic goods are commodity. Economic goods. Only economic goods are commodity. They are usable and sellable. Commodities are found in the majority of goods that end up in the hands of consumers, including tires, tea, ground beef, orange juice, and clothing. Do you understand? Commodities, suppose for beef meals, ground beef or beef meals, the main product is beef. For tea, we consume tea, but it comes from the tea leaves. We consume gold rings or bangles or any kind of ornaments, and these comes from the gold bar. We consume coffee, It comes from the coffee beans. We consume juice that comes from the fruits. Okay. Some most common commodities include copper, crude oil, wheat, coffee beans and gold. So they are consumed at the end of in consumer's hand, and they are usable and sellable. Okay, so all the services are not commodity, but all economic services are commodity. Remember that all economic goods and services are commodity.